The Quantum Healer's Dilemma. The sterile white corridors of the Quantum Medical Research Station hummed with a quiet intensity that Dr. Rowan Sinclair had long since become accustomed to. Holographic displays flickered around him, tracking complex molecular interactions that danced like living constellations. His fingers moved with practiced precision, manipulating quantum-entangled medical nanites that represented humanity's most advanced healing technology. Rowan wasn't just a doctor. He was a quantum architect of biological restoration, someone who could rewrite the very code of life itself. Years of research had pushed the boundaries of medical science beyond anything previously imagined. His latest project promised to revolutionize interspecies medical treatments, a breakthrough that could bridge the gap between human and alien physiologies. The station's communication system chirped, interrupting his concentration. Dr. Sinclair, the AI's neutral voice announced, incoming diplomatic transmission from the Karasi Coalition. He hesitated. Relations between humans and the Karasi had been tense since the border skirmishes 3 solar cycles ago. Most communications were terse, official, laden with underlying tension. Rowan's scientific curiosity overcame his caution. "Display transmission," he commanded. A holographic figure materialized, tall, slender, with iridescent skin that shifted colors like living mother-of-pearl. Zara Novak, a high-ranking Karasi diplomat, looked different from the last time Rowan had seen her during a brief medical conference. Her eyes, normally a calm azure, now burned with an intensity that suggested something was terribly wrong. "Dr. Sinclair," she began, her universal translator rendering her native language into crisp, articulate human speech. "I require your immediate assistance. A medical emergency that transcends typical diplomatic protocols." Rowan raised an eyebrow. The Karasi were notoriously private about their medical conditions, especially with humans. Their advanced biotechnology typically rendered outside medical intervention unnecessary. "Explain," he responded, keeping his tone professional. Zara's form flickered slightly, a sign of significant emotional stress for her species. "A quantum cascade infection is spreading through our diplomatic corps. Our medical systems cannot isolate the pathogen. It's adapting faster than we can respond." The implications were staggering. A quantum-level biological threat that could outmaneuver even the Karasi's advanced medical technology. This was unprecedented. "I'll need full genetic and quantum transmission data," Rowan said, his mind already racing through potential molecular reconstruction strategies. "It cannot be transmitted," Zara replied. "The risk of quantum entanglement contamination is too high. I must bring a sample directly to your research station." A diplomatic vessel carrying a potentially catastrophic quantum pathogen. The diplomatic and scientific community would lose their collective minds. But Rowan saw beyond the political complications. This was a medical challenge that could save thousands of lives. "Proceed," he said, "but understand the risks." As the transmission cut off, Rowan began preparing his most advanced containment and analysis systems. Something told him this was more than just a medical emergency. The way Zara had looked at him, the urgency in her voice, this was the beginning of something much larger. Little did he know how right he was. Interstellar negotiations. The quantum containment chamber gleamed like a crystalline fortress, its multi-layered protective fields shimmering with complex energy signatures. Dr. Rowan Sinclair stood at the primary observation deck, watching as Zara Novak's diplomatic shuttle approached the research station. Every sensor was calibrated to detect the slightest quantum anomaly, a precautionary measure that spoke to the potential danger of her cargo. Zara's vessel moved with an elegance that belied its advanced technology, smooth, nearly silent, defying the traditional bulky designs of interstellar transport. As it docked, Rowan noticed something unusual. The standard diplomatic protocol seemed altered. Compressed. As if something was being carefully concealed beneath the surface of this seemingly routine medical consultation. The airlock cycled, and Zara emerged. Her iridescent skin now had a subtle ripple of tension, microscopic color shifts that betrayed her inner turmoil. She carried a quantum-sealed containment unit no larger than a standard medical sample container, yet Rowan could feel the weight of what it might contain. "Dr. Sinclair," she greeted, her voice controlled but with an underlying current of urgency. Rowan gestured to the secure analysis chamber. "We'll need to run a complete quantum-level diagnostic. The pathogen you mentioned, it's unlike anything in our current medical databases." Zara's eyes, those mesmerizing azure pools, flickered with something deeper than medical concern. "The infection is more than a simple biological threat," she said, her words carefully measured. "It's a quantum-adaptive organism that seems to be learning." As they moved through the station's sterile corridors, Rowan couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story. The Karasi were not a species to seek outside help lightly. Their technological capabilities far surpassed most known civilizations, which made this request both bizarre and alarming. The analysis began. Quantum scanners probed the containment unit, creating intricate three-dimensional maps of the pathogen's molecular structure. What they revealed was beyond anything Rowan had ever seen. The organism wasn't just a disease, it was a living, evolving quantum algorithm that seemed to rewrite its own genetic code with each scan. "This is impossible," Rowan muttered, running his hands through his hair. "It's like the pathogen is deliberately changing to avoid detection." Zara's response was unexpected. "Not impossible. Intentional." The single word hung in the air like a challenge. Rowan turned to her, his scientific curiosity overriding diplomatic caution. "You know something about this. This isn't just a medical emergency, is it?" A moment of silence stretched between them. The station's ambient noise, the soft hum of quantum processors, the gentle pulse of containment fields, seemed to fade into the background. "The pathogen," Zara said slowly, "is a message. A weapon. But not in the way you might think." Before Rowan could press further, alarms began to sound. The quantum containment field fluctuated, its stable energy signature becoming erratic. Something inside the sample was pushing against its constraints, not with brute force, but with an almost intelligent precision. "We need to seal the chamber," Rowan commanded, his hands flying over the control interface. But Zara was already moving, her movements a blur of calculated efficiency. Whatever was happening, she was prepared for it. And that raised 1,000 questions in Rowan's mind. As the containment protocols engaged, one thing became clear: this was far more than a simple medical mission. The pathogen, the urgent request, Zara's careful revelations, they were all pieces of a much larger puzzle. And Rowan was determined to solve it. Secrets of the Quantum Realm. The research station's emergency protocols transformed the once pristine medical facility into a fortress of scientific vigilance. Dr. Rowan Sinclair and Zara Novak found themselves locked in a high-stakes game of quantum detective work, with the mysterious pathogen at the center of their investigation. Hours of analysis revealed layers of complexity that defied conventional understanding. The quantum organism wasn't just adapting, it was communicating. Subtle quantum resonance patterns emerged with each scan, forming intricate mathematical sequences that seemed to pulse with an almost sentient rhythm. "This is beyond biological warfare," Rowan muttered, projecting holographic representations of the pathogen's molecular structure. Fractal patterns danced between them, revealing impossible geometric configurations that seemed to shift and breathe. Zara's iridescent skin rippled with a subtle tension. "The Karasi High Council has been tracking similar quantum signatures across multiple star systems," she revealed, her voice low and measured. "This is not an isolated incident." A series of encrypted data streams began to overlay the holographic display. Star charts, quantum resonance maps, and fragmented transmission logs painted a disturbing picture. The pathogen was more than a weapon, it was a message, a complex communication system that traversed the boundaries of known physics. "Each time we scan it," Rowan explained, manipulating the holographic data, "the organism rewrites its own quantum signature. It's learning, adapting, almost, evolving in real time." The station's central computer struggled to process the information. Quantum algorithms crashed and reset, unable to maintain stability against the adaptive nature of the sample. Something fundamental was breaking down, the very laws of biological and quantum mechanics seemed to be rewriting themselves. Zara moved closer to the containment field, her hand hovering just millimeters from the energy barrier. There are forces at work here that extend beyond our current understanding of interstellar biology, she said, her voice carrying a weight of hidden knowledge. Suddenly, the quantum containment field flickered. A cascade of energy rippled through the research station's systems, causing momentary power fluctuations. For a split second, Rowan could have sworn he saw something within the pathogen's molecular structure, a pattern, a message, something just beyond the edge of comprehension. "We're missing something," he said, turning to Zara. "This isn't just a biological weapon. It's a communication network." The Karasi diplomat's response was measured but filled with an underlying tension. "The High Council believes this is connected to an ancient quantum communication network. Something that predates both human and Karasi civilization." Rowan's scientific mind raced with possibilities. An interstellar communication system embedded within a quantum adaptive organism. The implications were staggering. It would rewrite everything known about biological intelligence, quantum mechanics, and interstellar communication. As if responding to their discussion, the pathogen began to pulse. Quantum frequencies shifted, creating complex mathematical sequences that danced between order and chaos. It was trying to tell them something, a message encoded in the very fabric of quantum reality. "We need to decode this," Rowan said, his voice a mixture of scientific excitement and growing concern. "Whatever this is, it's trying to communicate something crucial." Zara's azure eyes locked with his, a silent understanding passing between them. They were standing at the precipice of a discovery that could change everything, a quantum frontier that threatened to reshape their understanding of life itself. The station hummed with potential energy, the quantum pathogen continuing its mysterious dance of molecular communication. Whatever secrets it held, Rowan and Zara were determined to unravel them. The Convergence Protocol. The research station had transformed into a nexus of quantum uncertainty. Banks of advanced computing systems worked overtime, attempting to decode the increasingly complex patterns emerging from the mysterious pathogen. Dr. Rowan Sinclair and Zara Novak had been working for days without rest, their collaboration blurring the lines between scientific investigation and something more intimate. "The quantum signatures are creating a map," Rowan said, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "But not of space as we understand it. It's like a dimensional blueprint." Zara leaned closer, her iridescent skin reflecting the shifting quantum displays. "The Convergence Protocol," she muttered, more to herself than to Rowan. "It's activating." Alarm systems erupted simultaneously across the station. Quantum containment fields began to fluctuate, creating rippling waves of energy that threatened to destabilize the entire research facility. The pathogen was no longer just a sample, it was becoming something else entirely. "We need to isolate the core quantum frequency," Rowan shouted over the increasing mechanical chaos. Emergency protocols locked down sections of the station, creating a cascading series of protective barriers. Zara's hand moved with inhuman precision, interfacing directly with the station's quantum communication array. "The message is incomplete," she said, her voice cutting through the alarm systems. "We're missing a critical component." A holographic projection erupted between them, a three-dimensional map of quantum interactions that seemed to pulse with living energy. Star systems, previously unknown, began to appear. Quantum bridges connected distant points of space, creating a network that defied traditional understanding of physics. "This isn't just a communication network," Rowan realized, his scientific mind racing. "It's a transportation system. A way to move between realities." The station shuddered. Quantum energy began to concentrate around the containment chamber, creating a vortex of impossible geometric patterns. The pathogen was no longer contained, it was transforming, becoming something more. Zara turned to Rowan, her azure eyes now swirling with quantum complexity. "The convergence protocol requires a quantum anchor," she said. "A biological interface capable of stabilizing the dimensional bridge." Rowan understood the implication before she could finish speaking. The pathogen needed a host, someone who could withstand the quantum transformation and serve as a living bridge between realities. "Me," he said simply. The next moments happened with terrifying speed. Quantum tendrils erupted from the containment chamber, reaching towards Rowan. Zara moved to intercept, but the energy was too powerful. The very fabric of reality seemed to bend and twist around them. "This wasn't supposed to happen," Zara shouted, her form beginning to shimmer and distort. "The protocol was meant to be a warning, not an invasion." Rowan felt the quantum energy penetrating his molecular structure. It wasn't painful, it was transcendent. His consciousness began to expand, understanding cascading into him like a flood of pure information. Distant star systems. Forgotten civilizations. Quantum pathways that connected realities beyond human comprehension. It was all becoming clear. "We're not just discovering something," Rowan managed to say as the quantum transformation accelerated. "We're being chosen." The research station disappeared. Reality folded. And somewhere between what was and what could be, Dr. Rowan Sinclair became something more than human. Quantum horizon. The concept of time lost all meaning. Rowan existed simultaneously in multiple states of consciousness, his perception stretched across quantum dimensions that defied linear understanding. Fragments of realities merged and separated, like breathing organisms of pure information and potential. When coherence finally returned, he found himself in a space that was neither physical nor purely mental. Zara stood nearby, or perhaps she was part of the quantum landscape itself. Her form shifted, sometimes completely alien, sometimes hauntingly familiar. "The convergence," she spoke, her voice resonating through quantum frequencies, "is not an invasion. It's a preservation." Slowly, the narrative of their journey unfolded. The quantum pathogen was a messenger, a living communication network designed by an ancient civilization facing extinction. They had seeded these quantum bridges across multiple realities, hoping that someday, someone would understand their message. Rowan's transformed consciousness began to comprehend. Entire civilizations had fallen. Cosmic threats beyond human comprehension had systematically eliminated advanced species across multiple dimensional planes. This quantum network was their final legacy, a way to preserve knowledge, to find potential saviors. "We were chosen," Zara explained, "because humanity represents an unexpected variable. Adaptable. Resilient. Capable of understanding complexity without being consumed by it." The quantum realm around them began to stabilize. Rowan could see, or perhaps feel, the intricate networks connecting different realities. Civilizations long dead, their knowledge preserved in these quantum pathways. Technologies that could rebuild, restore, reimagine entire worlds. "What do you want from us?" Rowan asked, his consciousness now capable of communicating in pure conceptual language. The response came not in words, but in a cascade of information. A warning. A challenge. A hope. Emerging cosmic entities were consuming realities. Dimensional predators that fed on the energy of entire civilizations. The quantum network was a defense mechanism, a way to find species capable of resistance. And humanity, with its remarkable capacity for innovation and survival, had been identified as a potential solution. Zara's form began to solidify. "You must prepare," she said. "The first wave approaches." The quantum landscape around them began to collapse, reconstructing itself into the familiar environment of the research station. But everything had changed. Rowan could feel the quantum pathways embedded within his very molecular structure. He was no longer just a doctor. No longer just a human. He was a guardian of realities. As the station's systems gradually returned to normal, Rowan looked at Zara. Their connection transcended physical attraction or diplomatic alliance. They were now quantum partners, tasked with a mission that would determine the fate of multiple civilizations. "We'll be ready," Rowan said, his voice carrying the weight of cosmic responsibility. The quantum horizons awaited.